Hey everybody, this is Eric with the Dramatic. Welcome back to the Backbeat. This time I've got Joey Clark from Joey Clark Drums. Super psyched. Joey, how's it going, man?
I'm doing awesome. How are you, Eric?
Man, I'm doing good. Thanks for being on here.
Cool. I'm excited to be here. I appreciate you asking me to do this. Actually, I'm honored that you asked me to do this. So let's get rolling.
My pleasure. So let's start with the basic stuff here. How did you get into playing the drums, man?
Okay, so when I was 1.5 years old, I have a picture. I posted this on Facebook a couple weeks ago. My parents got me a little kit. I think it was like an old McDonald drum set, and it had like paper. I don't even know if they were like real heads, but they're really cheap heads. And so that was like 1979. And then fast forward, around 1987, I got a kind of a real drum set. It was a 3-piece, one tom, one snare, bass drum, and a crappy cymbal. And then around 4th grade, I started taking drum. I joined the band and I started playing the snare drum. So I learned how to read music. And then from there, ended up going into high school, taking private lessons for 7 years, from 91 to 97. And then up and through my brief stint in college, I took lessons and was in the jazz band and the symphonic band as well. And then played in heavy metal bands, hardcore bands, punk rock bands, and kind of even pop bands in between there as well. So, I ran the gamut.
Nice. And your band now, Barbie Bones, is that right?
Barbie and Bones, yes.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Okay, it's kind of it's a cover band, and it's fun. It's like dance music. So we play anything. We play like Motley Crue, Bon Jovi, Poison, Tom Petty, Prince. So anything you can dance to. It's upbeat and it just kind of fun to play. So and we do it like once a month or twice a month, which for me at this point is just fine, because I'm not really fond of getting home around 4 o'clock in the morning, because it kind of wrecks the rest of my week. So, but that works for me. So, and it works for the rest of the. That's what we do.
That's awesome. So, yeah. That's awesome. I love that. And so you have run the gamut with stuff that with the the different styles that you've worked with and played with. And I do see behind you, you've got some sheet music up. When you do a cover, are you all by ear, or is it a combination?
Combo. It's a combo, because what I'll keep it up there, and I'll just kind of, if I need a cue, I'll just kind of look, and then I say, oh, all right, I got that part, and then keep rolling. Try to memorize as much as possible. Occasionally, there's like a fill or like something that I get hung up on. I think that, like, I have dyslexia, so sometimes my dyslexia goes into the drums, and I flip beats around, and then it drives. Or I've played a song and I played it wrong for years, and I've just played it that way, and then I have to relearn it the proper way. So, and then I'm like, oh man, I've done this for so long, I got to now switch that and figure out how to, in my brain fix. So, so I just keep playing. But yeah, that helps me kind of like get ahead on the song a little quicker, and then try to memorize as much as possible. And then if I just need a cue every now and then, I just take a glance at it and then keep going. So that's how I kind of do it.
Yeah. Nice. That's cool. It's like a hybrid. Because like I do all of mine just by ear, because my reading skills are probably at a remedial level, but that's cool because I've seen, other guys will sheet music, and that's kind of how they prepare and do all of the work. And, and then other guys by ear. So that's kind of neat that you've got a hybrid approach to it.
I do. So, because it probably from, and we can get into, but from all the years of drug abuse, my brain sometimes doesn't remember a lot of things. So I kind of need some help occasionally. So that's why I do that.
Gotcha. No, I understand that. We all need a little extra help with stuff from time to time. No doubt. And what are you playing on? What's your kit you're playing right now?
I got it's a Pearl Masters. It's a custom maple. It's a 4-ply and it has 6-ply reinforcement rings on the top and bottom. I had it custom made back in 2003 to 2005. I had a Pearl drum endorsement, so I had them make this kit for me back then, and so I've had it ever since. This has gone on 2 tours with me, and then a bunch of just shows, like locally that I've played and stuff like that. So they're a workhorse. So right now I use these just as my recording drums. And then I bought a different kit, a D drum kit to bring live. And so now I keep that packed up, and I keep this here. And then it's kind of lazy as well. So I don't like to take my stuff down and then come back and set it up, and then I have to re-mic everything. So I bought 2 things, and now I just leave it here, and then I have everything up to in road cases, and they're ready to go. So
nice. That's the way to do it.
Yes, it's much easier.
Sure. I did that for years, like with bands that you tried, that I tried to play in around, local places, and with youth group bands as a kid. And it was just like, this is a pain in the butt, trying to, and you're like, everybody wants to be a musician. They want to be a rock star, but then it's like, this is really not glamorous it's glamorous when the lights are on,
Yes. Depending 45 minutes to 3-hour gig, whatever kind of gig you have at that time. But yeah, and then you're getting, basically our joke is you get paid to set up and take down. We play for free.
That's about right. That makes sense. I love it. We get paid to set up and tear down. That's good. We have to make a meme out of that somehow. That's fantastic.
A running joke.
That's cool, man. So you got a Pearl Masters in the studio and a D drum. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I bought it for like $500, and I used them at a lot of my very first videos. I used that kit in, and it sounded great. And it's made out of alder wood, which is like a hard wood, but it's not like your typical wood that's you make drums out of. But they make a lot of guitars and stuff out of them, I guess. So for me, it's a little bit lighter, so it's easier to carry. It's a little easier to transport and to set up and take down. So for me, it works. It works great, and they sound good too. So they sound great live. And I put Evans. I like the Evans ebony heads, so I have those on my live kit and on the studio kit. So
did you get a killer sound like in your covers? I mean,
Thank
your
you.
kit is always on point, and I'm like, those toms. You're so good.
Well, what I bought? Well, I had it for 20 years or more. It's one of those TAM attention watches, and where you put it on the head, and then you tune it, and it's got a dial, and then you go to every lug and make sure they're tuned to the same. And what I do is I tune the head on the bottom a fifth higher than the top, so you get a little more resonance out of it. So I do that on all the toms, and I do that. Well, actually, on the bass drum, I kind of just tune the front head just to get all the wrinkles out, so I don't even really tighten it. Yeah. And then the plugs on the bass drum control your tone. So if you want a higher tone or a lower tone, you can crank those up or down and get a different tone out of your bass drum without having to do all of the lugs, to get a different sound out of it. So
nice. Yeah. That's cool. That's a good little tip. A fifth higher on the bottom than on the top. Yeah. On the tops. Yeah. Sweet. Yeah. Sweet, cool. And you're an A custom user over there?
I do love the A custom. I was a Sabian guy for over 20 years. So my very first drum, my real first drum set was a Rogers 5-piece kit, and it came with Sabian B8 cymbals. So, and my drum teacher was endorsed by Sabian, so he could get me a discount on all Sabian cymbals. So I was like, well, this is great. So for years, that was a good deal. So, and I still have a bunch of Sabians that I bring. I use those. My Sabians I use live, and I keep my A customs here for the studio because they sound. So when I buy a cymbal, I want the cymbal to sound like I'm breaking glass. So the A custom for me, that's the kind of sound that I kind of get out of those crashes. So I mean, I like to hear things, like things are being broken and smashed. So that's how I. That's what I want to buy.
Give me something that sounds like I'm breaking something. Yeah, that's awesome. I love it. I love the A customs too. I've had A customs for several years, and I had some Sabian Vault. I think I don't know if they make them anymore, but I had a couple of those, and then I've had this Sabian Ride back here. It's a 21-inch hand hammered raw bell ride, and I love it. And so like, it's been hard for me to want to get rid of it, even when I swapped out for A customs.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, but
Well,
it, you know, it,
like the this one, which is a custom 21-inch Mega Bell.
yeah.
That would be almost kind of similar to maybe what you have there in the Sabian,
Okay.
but just so you might be interested in taking a look at that. That's my favorite cymbals of all time, right there.
Sweet.
I think it'd be just like heavy metal because it's just like the bell is so big and it's just so thick and heavy. But it is a very versatile cymbal because I've played it in many different covers, and it works. It works for it. So
nice. Yeah, the Mega Bell. I think I saw that. I was browsing through Sweetwater one day and came across that. I was like, dang, that is a huge. And it is a big bell.
It's a big bell.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So cool. So, dude, I just say this. I love your channel. Your covers are amazing. Your drumming is fantastic. I have so much respect for you as a musician and as a person. We've gotten to chat offline, you know, through messaging and stuff. And you're just a really super cool dude. And you've made a really cool career for yourself as a personal trainer, right?
Correct. Yes.
Tell us about that.
Sure. So I started 9 years ago. I started my own personal training business. How I got to that was a story I can get into right now. So, so from 18 years old to 33 years old, I had a really significant drug problem. We could say that. My very last day of use of hard drugs, I did cocaine, ecstasy, marijuana, painkillers, and alcohol. I drove to work that next morning, still popping painkillers. And then I got arrested or got in trouble and pulled into the office by the loss and prevention person because I had stolen over 600 pills from the pharmacy. So I got arrested. I lost my job. I ended up going to rehab for 2 years. I got probation for 2 years, and I just had to stay clean. So everybody's like, well, how did you do that? I said, well, I didn't want to go to jail. So that was a pretty good way to light a fire under my ass to get off drugs. Right. So that's really all I had. You know, I didn't want to go to prison. So, because I was looking at, 5 felonies and each one of them could have been up to 5 years in prison. So, so I was like, all right, hold on, I can do this. And so I made it through. I made it through the probation, stay clean. I still to this day, now that was in 2012. So, so we're 10 years now. And I still to this day, I go every week and talk to a drug and alcohol counselor just to see, because what happened is I was using that to push all of my emotions and trying to escape from everything. But when you get off drugs, you've never dealt with anything because you always would try and mask that pain or emotion with the drugs. And now you have to deal with everything without any drugs. So every emotion that you've always suppressed, as that comes up, you got to figure out a way how to deal with it. So that's where the therapy and stuff comes in as well. So it helps you with coping mechanisms and if this situation arises, how are you going to handle that kind of thing? So, that's how I got into personal training. In that period, I started volunteering at the local gym, just sitting at the desk for free. And I got a free membership out of it. So I started training, getting myself in better shape. And then there was one or two trainers that would come in and out, but they were never at the gym all the time. So there was never somebody there that was very knowledgeable that could help people out and stuff. So I asked them, how could I get into this? And they gave me the information, and then I signed up, and I got all the course materials and stuff. And then I had to go to a community college in Lebanon, New Hampshire, and I took the test at the college, and then I passed it. And as soon as I was ready to go, the owner of the gym was already allowing me to come in and train there. So I already had a job, lined up. Now, However, I still had to get clients. So it's not like I showed up and then the red carpet was rolled out and I just started training people.
Right.
It was a little more difficult than that. So so I would show up at 5 a.m. I would be there and be training people. So by the time 8 o'clock rolled around, I might have 3 or 4 people trained already. So I just hit the ground running. And now I have a full schedule. Where like I gotta find spots for people to kind of, get them in there and stuff like that. So what I was talking about earlier, where at this point in America, it's the pandemic is really obesity. I just call that job security at the moment. So
there'll always be people in need of your services, right? That's awesome. Not awesome that America's obese, but
no, it is. I truly believe that. So
yeah, that's true. Isn't it the leading, like in America in particular, like the leading cause of like heart disease and other things is that we're overweight?
It's obesity. And there's no other way. Nobody's going to tell me anything different. It's every list you look at, the very number one thing is heart disease, directly linked to obesity.
Yeah.
That's it. Cut and dry. So, and I really, like what we were saying earlier, I believe there's just a lack of education on how to eat, exercise and stuff like that. It's really just about getting educated, but it's not, if I say, I'm going to give you, I wouldn't even say diet. I don't want to put you on a diet. I want you to have a lifestyle change. So you have to change your life and make better habits and better choices. And that's the only way it's going to work. And just like getting off drugs, you have to want to do it. So if you don't want to do it, it's never going to happen. There's no magic pill, right? When you started playing drums, it wasn't like all this knowledge got into your head just by osmosis. You had to sit there and work on it and keep working. We're always learning. Like there's things that I'm always learning between personal training and playing the drums. So, nobody's got everything figured out. You know what I mean? So
That's true.
Yep.
That's true. And if we do think we have it all figured out, we've got another problem.
Run away from that person.
Yes. That's right. That's going to be a big set of drama that we don't want to deal with. No doubt. Yeah. I've known people like that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Well, dude, that's super awesome. Just since we're talking about that, where can people go to learn more about what you're doing? I think you just started an online thing too.
Oh yeah, well, I got certified. Well, that was during COVID. So during COVID, I had started this online training certificate. To get certified as an online trainer. And then and I had kind of half-assed it, and then didn't really do it. And then once COVID hit, I had time to actually sit down and finish it. So I ended up getting certified to be an online trainer as well as a personal trainer where, I could see you in person. But sometimes you can do a hybrid. So like you could buy a couple personal trainings where I see you, and then you can go and then we can talk online and keep your progress updates and you can do form checks and that sort of stuff. So that's called like a hybrid model, where like you get a couple personal trainings where you can show up, and then you get like your progress and your form checks are all done online and stuff like that. Or a lot of people need their motivation to get to the gym is me sitting there waiting for them. Otherwise, they won't come to the gym at all. So
yeah, that's a good motivator, I would say.
Well, and then when they come late, I just say you have less rest on all your exercises, because now I'm going to make this a little bit harder because you can't make it here on time.
There you go. They're like, I got to be here on time. I do not want to work harder. That's awesome. That's cool. So if somebody was interested in looking you up and hiring you, where can they do that?
You could go to www.concentricfitness.com, and then I have a whole website there, and it has like my whole story. It's got all the different like I do TRX, was like a suspension training exercise. I do like classes with that, and then just your normal personal training, which anything that involves weightlifting, cardio. Technically, I do have a certificate in nutrition, but the scope of practice for a personal trainer is like, I can give you advice on diet, but I'm not a registered dietitian. So I have to give that kind of a, you know,
Right.
warning, whatever.
Right. I'm not a licensed, yeah.
A suggestion.
I played one on TV. Yeah, gotcha. That's awesome, dude. That is just so that's inspirational. Because you know, I've talked with other people that have dealt with or still dealing with, you know, addictions on different levels, and it's a hard cycle to break. But your story is one of hope. Don't give up. You absolutely can change your lifestyle.
You can. Now, and I'm not claiming that I did it all by myself. I had a lot of people, you know, to help me. I had really good counselors at the rehab I went to. My counselor now, I also train him, you know, so we actually barter. So I take care of his body, he takes care of my mind.
That's a good trade. Yeah, man.
So, and my wife, huge influence, always supporting me from even before we were dating. I think she was actually my first customer. So yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, I like this girl. She's pretty cool.
She started with me. She first. When I got off drugs, I was a miserable prick. I was an asshole. And I don't know anybody that would have wanted to hang out with me. So that was another thing. Like getting off of that stuff, you know, your personality, your brain is actually getting rewired, right? Because you've screwed it up pretty much with all the drugs. So after all those drugs get out of your system, you know, your brain starts to kind of rewire itself. So that could be, you know, a tricky thing to navigate as well. I'm a lot better now but it took a lot of practice, a lot of therapy, you know, a lot of apologizing. So,
but you know what? So many times people don't change, and I think it's because they don't see the need for change. So you have to have a good group, whatever it is you're trying to do, right?
Yeah.
You have to have a supportive group of people around you, but it all starts with you making the choice. Things are going to be different.
Yeah, correct.
Right.
That's it. It really comes down to you. Nobody else can make you do it. Trust me. I know this. I can't make you lose weight, but I can give you suggestions and help you to do that. But you have to ultimately do the work. Me sitting there, how to do this exercise, and you do that, you come to me and do an hour, or say you come to me twice a week for 2 hours. Now, how many other hours in the week are there that you're not practicing what you should be doing, right? If you're eating bad, like I said, you can't out exercise a bad diet. So if you come and work out and then you go to McDonald's and eat a shit ton of food, you've just negated that workout.
Right.
It's like you work out. So you gotta have both. And I don't know, some people say 70-30, like it's 70% diet, 30% workout. Some people it's like 80% and 20%, you know, but it really is kind of like that when you tip the scales. So if you don't get the diet piece, the workout piece, you're just kind of spinning your wheels. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. And well, we won't go into talking about my dietary changes that I'm trying to make and still need to make. That'll be something for a private conversation.
Get that offline.
Yeah, that's awesome. So when you're not playing drums, you know, they're in the studio or with your band, and you're not, you know, training people. What do you like to do? What do you and your wife like to do for fun when you're not working?
Well, we're gonna go to the movies. So, you know, we're gonna go see the Batman. Actually, I wore this because I know you're.
Yes.
I just saw a movie with my father when I was down in Florida, and I called my wife. I said, we have to go again. I said, you will not be disappointed by this movie. So I'm trying to say like a date night. When I was on vacation, I said, we need to have a date night and, we'll go out to eat, go to the movie, and then, whatever after. So that's kind of how we're rolling at this point. You know what I mean?
It's very similar to Loretta and I, between jobs and, doing stuff with the Drum Attic and Attic Custom Drums, and then working around the properties where we live. There's a lot to do. It's easy to kind of be like, oh, we haven't really made a lot of time specifically for each other, which is such an important part of an intricate part to a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
But we did just go see the Batman. We don't have to discuss the movie, but I am in agreement with you. It was amazing. I am a big Batman fan, and I'm a sucker for anything Batman. Even if it sucked, I still would have gone to see it. But I was very impressed.
I was blown away. My father was like, well, number one, my father's like, I could hear the movie. So that he was sold on that because he could actually hear it. So I was like, all right,
Awesome.
Cool, Dad. It was a good time. Good to hang out with him and then go see the movie.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. So let's see here. What any advice you would give to somebody starting let's kind of circle back around to the drum part of it, but any advice to anybody that's just wanting to start up a YouTube channel for drums?
Yeah, just do it. I had no idea what the hell I was doing. I just kind of stumbled around on it. And then I made a video. I made my first video, which was I think it was Pantera Cowboys from Hell. And it wasn't very good. And then all of a sudden, I got a comment on it. I said, you gotta be kidding me. Somebody actually saw this thing and actually took the time to write a comment. It just happened to be Drum Man 190. So I was like, So I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna keep doing this. And the wheels start spinning, so then you try and do different lighting and you're always with the production, I still really, what I do is I have an L12 board back here. So it's a live board. I take an SD card and I plug that into the back of it. And then I record straight to the board and I take the card out and then plug it into my laptop and pull it into my Reaper, DAW program, Reaper. And because I don't even really know how to get the USB thing to work with the board where I don't even know how to punch in or anything. So I literally have to play the song, all the way through every time. So which is made me a better player because playing to a click, being more consistent and just playing a lot. When you go and play live, it's just a whole nother world. Getting back to when we were talking about the reading, I was not ever really a great reader. So part of that was I wanted to practice my reading, my sight reading. So that's why I started throwing some of the charts up as well, because I was never very good at it. So I was kind of killing two birds with one stone because I was getting able to do the video plus do some sight reading. And I know some people kind of, I don't know if they want everybody to do it by memory or whatever. Some people, I've seen comments where oh, you're reading off the chart or whatever. It's yeah, but in my mind, I'm also kind of practicing my sight reading as well. I'm not doing it because I'm trying to cheat or something like that. You know what I mean?
Right. Reading the music would be cheating.
Yeah. So that's how I initially viewed, getting a chart. But when I was in jazz band and when I was in symphonic band, guess what? I had to read the chart. So I just wasn't that great at it. So I said, I'm almost 43. What the hell? Let's see if I can get better at this. You know what I mean? So that's what I did. Yeah.
That's awesome. Another way to kind of better what you're doing and hone your craft.
Yeah. Right. Well, and I always say, if you ever watch Kenny Arnoff play, on the left-hand side of him, he's got an iPad. And he writes his own charts or he writes his notes out. And then it's on the side of the stage. So even the guys that are professional do the same thing. You know what I mean? Because I was also with another drummer, and he was in one band on the tour, and then their other drummer broke his elbow or wrist or something, and he ended up filling in for that band. And as we were driving this from city to city, he's in the back of the van writing out charts. So when he goes to play with that band, he knows what he's doing. So to me, it's not a bad thing. So
yeah, no, it's a good thing. And I think I've always thought it's good to be able to do both, because if you're playing with enough different people, you're going to be asked to do both.
Right.
And so I could look at music and understand what was happening with the drum part. But it would probably take me a little time to kind of break it down. And when I was as a point in case to what you're saying, when I was, it was right when Loretta and I started dating. So it was about 5 years ago. Exactly 5 years ago. I was playing in a local production of Green Day's American Idiot. So we had all the drum charts.
Yeah.
I learned best by ear, but if I couldn't figure out what was happening, I was going back to that chart and going, oh, okay, or that's not what he played. You know what I mean? But that's what was written, and that helped me fill in those holes.
It does. Absolutely. Yeah, because you can actually see where the notes fall, if it's a high tom, low tom, snare drum, whatever. And that's how you break it down, right? So it's like literally you're like 1, 2, 3, you know what I mean? So trying to get every note to line up. And that's what I do now. So with the Mosey's app, if I got a really hard or a really fast song, I slow that thing down by 20 beats per minute. And I'll play that thing 10 times through that slow. And then I'll add 10 beats per minute and I'll play that 10 times through. And then I'll get it to the speed and then I'll play that 10 times through. And then usually that will also help me with memorization as well. But sometimes I'll still have the chart and do that too, just so I could see kind of where certain things line up. But that really, slowing it down and breaking it down totally helps. And that's, you do that with rudiments too. You got to learn, you got to, play them consistently, because if you just start off fast and everything's uneven, it's going to sound like a disaster. So literally you got to make sure every hit is consistent. And that's one of the things with recording that I learned is where to hit, what sounds good, how much intensity to hit with, you know what I mean? When you want to sizzle the hi-hat, you got to make sure you open the hi-hat or you're going to get a half-assed, sizzle, and then you're going to have to redo the thing. So you know what I mean? So like you learn those things as you do more recording. So to see what sounds good on not tape, but a hard drive, I guess. But
whatever we record on now, right? Used to be tape. I remember that. That's awesome. That's awesome. Cool. And so with the we talked about like starting a YouTube channel. I think that was absolutely right. Just do it. Nobody's going to ask you to do it. Nobody's waiting for you to do it. Just do it. And you don't even have to have good stuff. You can have crappy stuff. Just do it.
Yeah. It's trial and error. And the more you do it, the better you're going to get. Yeah. And then most of the time, everybody is in this community is very encouraging. And that also helps your self-esteem, and it helps you're going to want to get better. And then, like the way you and Drumman and a lot of other guys now shout outs and interviews and, nobody, I always had that idea. I was like, wouldn't it be cool if somebody interviewed all these drummers? And then all of a sudden people started doing it. I was like, oh, cool.
How did they know? How did they nick my idea?
I want to learn about all the drummers here too. So it's like, it's kind of just fascinating,
Yeah, agreed. That's why I wanted to do it. And, I didn't want to everybody's doing a great job with what they're doing. And so I was like, I don't want to just duplicate that. So I was like, what can we, get into that makes it a little bit unique? Because I love people and I like to get to know people. Now, if I'm having a bad day, I don't like people in the sense of like, I'm at Walmart and they seem like they're in my space. Then I want to start throat punching people.
I have those days.
So starting off drumming, biggest piece of advice you'd give to a new drummer just sitting down for the first time?
Consistency and sitting down and practicing, consistency in your hits. And that, literally, I watched this video. It was a video by Chad Smith, beginner drummer. I was like, what can I learn, right? I watched the video and all about consistency with your hits. It is a game changer, because if your hits are not consistent, it's going to sound like a train wreck. The better you get at being consistent and moving it around the kit and making sure every hit sounds good, you're going to be a hell of a lot better at the drums. And if you can do it to a click track, even better, because then you're going to be ahead of the game when you go to record. So
Yeah,
that would be my biggest piece of advice.
that's good. I'd reiterate the. Oh,
Pros,
sorry.
if I watch somebody, I call like somebody's like a tapper, like I call it like a tapper, like they just barely hitting the drums. Now they might have really great technique, but it's just, for my taste, it's just not hard enough. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But I also, here's one of my things I also say, you want to pull the sound out of the drum. So if you're hitting the drum and then you're choking it, you're choking the sound. So you're not getting the full resonance of that drum. So you want to hit it and kind of pull your stick away from it and pull the sound out of the drum. I was watching another video with Thomas Lang. He calls it, you'll like karate chop the drum. You don't want to karate chop the drum. You want to hit the drum and then pull that sound out of the drum so you get the full resonance of the drum. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. That's good. That's good advice. And I've seen people play like that, like with their kick or their snare, particularly. It's like we lay into it and then we.
Right. And then they like bury the stick into the head instead of hitting it and then pulling it out. Pull that sound out of there. And I'm doing that on my bass drum. So I got to be, so I'll dig into that bass drum and the beater will stay right there. So I got to remember, I got to pull my foot off so the beater can come back and get more resonance out of the head. Otherwise, you're just kind of burying the head or burying the beater in the head. So. Yeah,
like bury it, but then let it come back out. So that hit has that nice thud, to it, that presence. Yeah, I agree. That's good. I've never heard anybody explain it that way. So that's really good information.
There you go. I'm glad
you heard it here first. Joey Clark, making a revolution of drumming. That's awesome, man. Anything you'd like to share with anybody watching before we wrap it up?
Well, yeah, just my main theme is consistency. It can go with drums, it can go with weightlifting. Now, another thing with drums and weightlifting, it's all muscle memory. So they kind of go hand in hand. So like when you lift weights and maybe you stop for a while, well, when you come back to that and you start lifting weights again, your muscles will remember that you have done this before. So it won't be as hard to come back if you've had like a little hiatus. Kind of the same with drums. It's muscle memory. But in order to make that work, you have to do the work. If you're not going to do the work, it's not going to work. Okay. You know what I mean? So that's my biggest thing. Just be consistent with whatever you do, and then you will get better at it, because that's all it really takes.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's good. Consistency. That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
It's simple, but
it is. It is simple, but effective.
Yes. And I found that anything worth doing in life is going to take effort and consistency to make it successful on any level, whatever your definition of success is. If it's just trying to get that fill right, it's going to take that consistency, like you were saying, breaking it down. And that's what I'll do. I'll listen to it over and over again. Sometimes it helps to see somebody, for me, like play it, and you're like, oh.
Other thing, sometimes I'll go find a video and watch. Now, sometimes you watch different drummers and they play it slightly different. And then sometimes I'll go watch a beginner drummer do it. And I said, oh my God, they got it. That was so simple. That made sense to me. When I watched it and the other guy did it, it didn't make sense to me. So it's like a beginner drummer will actually be the one that will help you out. So that's what I'm saying. So you can learn from all different levels of people as well. So it's not like you just got to pros or whatever. Sometimes you'll stumble upon somebody and it just makes sense to you. And then it was like you had an epiphany. You're like, damn, why didn't I do that? Or why didn't I think of that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, I totally understand. I have those moments. I'm like, oh, well, I was way overthinking this,
Exactly. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Good. Joey, thank you so much, brother. I've really loved this conversation. I've had a great time.
Excellent. I appreciate you having me, and anytime, man. Really, seriously. And your snare drum, my favorite drum.
That's okay. No censorship here. We're good. We're good. That's cool, man. I appreciate that. I do. I appreciate the kind words you've spoken about our channel, the encouragement you pour into Loretta and I, and the word of mouth you've helped us with the Attic Custom drums. That really means a lot. And I mean, seriously, like it's not, it doesn't, words don't do it justice, but we really value that and appreciate you. So thank you for being such a cool dude, man.
Appreciate you. I appreciate Loretta. I appreciate the drum addict. So you guys rock.
Well, thanks, man. Thanks. Well, you guys, thanks so much for stopping by. If you haven't already, go right now, subscribe to Joey Clark Drums. Of course, there'll be a link in the description below. You will not be disappointed. Joey's a great guy, a phenomenal drummer. You'll learn some stuff. It's phenomenal. So thanks for stopping by. We will see you next time.